Hi everyone, today's video is a tutorial for these flower granny squares. They are only 5 rows, so I think they're quite simple. Make sure to like and subscribe and let's get started. So here's everything you'll need for the granny square. I've got a pair of scissors, this is a 5mm crochet hook, a stitch marker, which to be honest is optional, a needle to weave in the ends, and obviously the yarn here. This is from the brand Yarn & Colours. It's the Epic Cotton yarn, so it's a little bit chunkier. I've got the colour Cotton Candy, Pepper and Cream, and these are going to make up the colours for our flower. So this is going to be the border colour, this is going to be the centre colour for the flower, and this is going to be the colour for the petals. So row 1 is going to be the centre of the flower, so I'm choosing red for this centre, and I'm going to start off with a magic ring and chain 1, and then in the magic ring I'm going to make 8 half double crochet, and after those 8 half double crochet I'm going to pull on this end that I crocheted over to close up the centre of the magic ring, and then I'm going to count back 8 stitches and slip stitch in the beginning half double crochet. And then I'm going to tie off here by making a chain 1, cut the working yarn and pull that through. Then I'm going to attach this new colour onto the stitch after where I just tied off. And I'm going to use a single crochet to attach it. From here I will chain 5, and then from the second chain from the hook make 4 single crochet. So not this chain, the second chain, and after that 4th single crochet, chain 1, and I'm going to slip stitch in the same stitch where I made the first single crochet where I attached the yarn. And then in the next stitch I'm just going to make a slip stitch. So this little stem is essentially going to be one of the petals, and I'm just going to repeat that 3 more times to create 4 petals in total. And as you can see, I've hit the knot where I tied off the red. So for this 3rd row, I'm going to start with the single crochet where I have first attached this pink colour. So in that single crochet, I'm going to make another single crochet. And this is going to be the start of the row. So on that stitch, feel free to use a stitch marker. And now I'm going to work up the side of this stem, I guess you could call it, into these chains. So I think you'll be able to see on camera that the loops kind of overlap each other, and we are going to work in the space where essentially those loops overlap. So I'm going to start with making 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, then a double crochet in the next stitch, and in the last stitch along this side, right at the top here, I'm going to make 3 double crochet all in the same stitch. From here, chain 2, and now we're going to work back along the side of the chain. So in this first stitch, make 3 double crochet all in the same stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next stitch, followed by 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then what looks like the next stitch here is actually the chain from the previous row. So in what would be, I guess, the back loop of the next stitch, I am going to make 1 single crochet. And then to finish this petal, I'm going to make a slip stitch, but I'm going to make it into the row below where the red is. So into this stitch right here. This one right here, just in case anyone missed that. And then after that, you should reach the next single crochet. So I'm just going to repeat the same petal process And there are 2 petals complete. So I'm going to repeat that process for these 2 other petals, and I'll meet you at the end of round 3. So I'm going to finish this with a slip stitch in the row below. And then the next stitch should be where we placed our stitch marker. So in the next stitch, I'm also going to make another slip stitch, just so I know it's secure. And then from here we can just tie off. So chain 1, cut my working yarn and pull that through. So this is what your finished flower should look like. Don't worry about all these ends, we can sew them in at the end. But I just wanted to show you some other colours that I've made here. To be honest, you could even use these as appliques to sew onto different crochet projects. But for this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can make these into a square. So I'm going to talk you through what to do for the border because I realised that the shot of this wasn't very clear, but I also have the written instructions on screen. Basically what I'm going to do is attach this new colour with a slip stitch onto the chain space at the top of the petal, and it can be any chain space, then chain 1 and make a half double crochet in that chain space, chain 2 and make another half double crochet in the same chain space. How many times did I just say chain space? I'll let you figure that out. But anyway, moving on, I'm then going to make 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches along the side of the petal. Chain 3, and then I'm going to attach to the other side using a half double crochet 3 stitches down from the top chain space. And then half double crochet your way up to the next chain space at the top, where you'll make 1 half double crochet, chain 2 and another half double crochet all in the same chain space. And when you've repeated that all the way around, just slip stitch in the beginning half double crochet, and then we only have 1 more row to go. So for this, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm also going to start crocheting over this yarn end because I'm a lazy girl who likes to save time. So I'm going to make 1 half double crochet in the next chain space across, chain 2, and make another half double crochet in that same chain space, and this is essentially the corner of the granny square. After that, I'm just going to half double crochet across to the chain that we made in the previous row, and at this chain I'm going to make 3 half double crochet across. Then half double crochet across to the next chain space in the corner, where you'll make 1 half double crochet, chain 2 and another half double crochet all in the same chain space. And you're going to repeat that all the way around, where at the end of this row you just need to slip stitch in the beginning half double crochet and tie off. I was kind of playing yarn chicken here. We made it. So you can block these squares if you really want to, but I didn't find it was necessary. I just stretched them into shape and they ended up measuring about 4¼ inches wide. And this is a PSA to secure and sew in your ends. I like to double knot the yarn that I used for the flowers and then sew them in at the back. And once you've trimmed off the ends, you will have a finished granny square. You can use these for any project you like. If you do, make sure to tag me on Instagram at Doodies Crochet. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.